All right, guys, in today's video, we're talking about the easiest way to stop standing up through impact. As you can see, I'm not out here by myself. Mr. Robert McMillan back with us. If you haven't seen, we did some videos, I guess about 3 years ago now, some short game videos with Robert, super good ones. Robert used to play on the European Tour, played in the British Open.
We just like to call it the Open, Eric.
Just the Open, okay,
the Open,
not the British Open, just the regular Open. Used to play some golf with Mr. Seve Ballesteros. Like I mentioned, some really cool short game videos. Looking forward today to digging into some full swing concepts. Now, before we dive in, we're going to show you a really cool drill and what you need to feel down through impact. Let's just hop over to Analyzer. I'm going to give you a quick visual of what we're talking about before we get started.
Okay, as we're looking at Adam Scott here maintaining his posture, I do this yellow line down his, spine or back line on both sides. And you'll notice as he swings on the right here that he does maintain that posture, meaning his body stays that same distance from the ground, both on the way back and then through the majority of the follow through. Now, what I want you to note here, and we're going to dive into, is that setup. You'll notice that his chest or rib cage or core area is pointed down towards the ball. But by the time he gets to impact, his chest isn't still down at the golf ball. His right shoulder, right, his right rib cage, his obliques are pointed down, and his chest is actually pointed out towards the target. If we take him a little bit farther, you can see it even better. Notice at this point in his swing, he's more or less still bent over the same amount he was at setup. But now he's bent over via that right side bend, that right rib cage, and that right shoulder, not by just keeping his chest down like he was on the left. Let's dive in on how you can put this in your swing.
Okay, Mr. Robert, so obviously I just gave him a quick little visual of what we're talking about. And Robert had a post on his Instagram showing one of the students he was working with this under drill that we're going to show, that we'll get to in a minute. But I guess just conceptually, if someone was struggling with standing up through impact, and they were coming in for a lesson and they were like, hey, I've done this early extension stand-up move forever. What am I trying, what is the correct thing that I'm trying to do during the downswing?
The feeling that we're trying to get is we're trying to get the feeling of our rib cage here, working down and towards the inside of my left foot. So I'm getting a squeeze feeling here. It's almost like my rib cage is pushing downwards into the inside of my lead foot as my right shoulder lowers and rotates. So the key to this is side bend with rotation. But you'll notice when I do that, I'm pressuring into the inside of my big right toe. That's something you'll see if you look at all those pictures of tour players. You'll see how this right knee is working down. We've got side bend and rotation. And that's the feeling we want to get. Also, when we do that, when we're squeezing that rib cage downwards and the right shoulder's lowering and rotating, the lead hip's starting to rise up. So we're lengthening the left side. That's a good thing. We don't want to lower it, we want to lengthen it.
I think one of the things that I've struggled with early extension for a long time in my swing, and I think a lot of us, I was probably guilty of teaching this more when I was first starting, but this idea at setup, we can show some of the visuals. If you take your setup there for a second, Robert, obviously at setup, we've got our chest and rib cage pointed down towards the ball. And so I used to think to maintain my posture, I was just trying to keep that. Yeah, exactly. But that's not at all what really
you
happens.
can do that and hit 25 inches behind the ball if you'd like, if that's what you're looking for.
Not super
So that's not what you're looking for?
No.
Okay, so that's not the case.
Yeah.
If that was the case, it would look something like this, right?
Yeah.
But when I stay in posture and rotate, that is the key to the side bend, is making sure we don't side bend with no rotation. Now we bottom out way behind it, and you'd either have to try to flip to get to it. So what we want to do is side bend and rotate.
Side bend and rotate.
Side bend and rotate.
And when you do that, what's interesting, we could show some of these visuals too, which I think could help, is that setup, that chest points down toward the ball, but when we show the pros through impact, we see, let's say if we get the arms parallel in the follow through, we see the rib cage and right shoulder actually point down.
That's right.
And the chest is no longer at the ball.
Correct. It's not. It's moving around in a circle on a tilt.
Yeah.
So it's a circle on a tilt. Here's a circle without the tilt.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I'd get to the ball, right? So when we get that circle on a tilt. Now we can get that low point. No low point because I'm not tilting. I'm sure turning, but I'm not tilting. So it's that side bend tilt. You'll notice as I get past the golf ball here, my hips have opened up, my left side's lengthened. I've got side bend and I've got rotation, but look where my chest is pointing now.
Yes.
It's not pointing at the ball, it's pointing at you because I'm turning and side bending.
So the chest goes from pointed at the ball to pointed more towards the target.
That's correct.
And the shoulder and the rib cage point down. And you bring up a good point too, and I think that'll help, is like the side bending piece is more so to get the club down, right?
Right.
But the rotation moves the low point forward.
That's right, because if you can imagine that if you try to do this and turn without side bend, to get to the golf ball, I'd have to really lengthen my arms to get down there. But because I'm side bending, my right arm's bent. Now I can release my right arm because I'm already closer to the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
I have that side bend.
And make sure you hit ball first, ground second.
Ball first, ground second.
So we need both of those. And I saw on your channel an example of you working with a player with this, club in front under drill. So I think, could you give us a little explanation on what that is and how they could use it? And then I'd like to frankly hop in and do some myself, and we can kind of work through that a little.
Sure, this is just a great drill. It's been very successful with my students. We take a club and just kind of stick it in the ground right here like so.
So if you were on grass, you're literally
right. I would stick it under the grass, right, and make sure it's planted in there. And then I'd open the palm of my lead hand, take up my setup, like I'm about to hit a shot right here, make a little mini backswing. We're not working on backswing, so just make a little swing to here and stop. And then what I want you to do is I want you to do exactly what we just said. I want you to side bend and rotate and swing under the shaft. Now you'll see down the line here where I've really stayed in my posture and my right arm is bent as I'm lowering my right shoulder, but I'm rotating my chest. Now, watch what happens if I turned without side bend. My left hand came off the club.
Whoopsie. Because
I've stood up. So this is a great way to encourage you to work underneath. Watch, I'm going to make a little mini swing, palm my left hand on top of the club, my right toe, I'm going into the inside of my big right toe, I'm in side bend. Now watch, I'm going to swing down now without any side bend.
Yeah, that's good.
The club fell off. So are you going to step in here and give it a shot?
Yeah, let's do it. So club in front here,
palm
and this is kind of like just barely in front of where the ball is.
Perfect.
And then my arm is like pretty straight?
Yeah, I would keep it pretty straight.
Okay. So my right hand's out like this. I'm gonna go back like so.
Perfect, perfect, absolutely perfect.
You know what I feel when I'm doing this is, now does it matter, my arm should kind of stay out there?
Just keep your arm out there, yeah.
Okay.
We're just getting, now obviously when you hit a golf ball, your arm's not gonna be way out there.
Right,
This is just to get the feel of side bend and rotation. Now you notice, see where I'm standing now? See the placket of your shirt? See where it's pointing to me now?
Yeah.
Well, this is where it was pointing before. It was pointing to straight onto the camera,
here.
right? But now it's pointing to me.
So if I stand up, that club's gonna fall
Yes,
out.
it is.
Yeah, okay. So
Working
I add the rotation.
Under the lead arm, with the trail arm, with side bend.
You know what it feels like? It's almost like one of those, if you have one of those like boxing mitts in your hand, and I'm almost trying to like take my palm and slap, like if you put your hand out here for a second, Robert, if you like a hand, so I almost get a sensation like I'm trying to get almost into that, you know?
Beautiful.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm almost
absolutely.
Doing it. Okay. So for me, what I feel compared to normal when I do that is exactly what you mentioned, which is that it's a right side crunching.
Right.
Like if I was standing in the gym doing like an oblique crunch.
That's right.
But instead of me standing and just facing the camera the whole time, I'm just incorporating the
But it's interesting how your lead side extended when you did that.
Yeah, without me thinking about it.
Yeah, go ahead and crunch. So your lead side went up.
Yeah.
See, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
As long as you turn. Now, try to do it without turning. Try to side bend without turning. Oh boy, now, look where the path of the club is coming towards me.
Yeah.
Not good, right?
Yeah.
Now just go ahead and do it again and turn.
No side bend?
Side bend and turn. There it is, there it is.
Yeah, now I'm good.
And the hands are forward as well. So this drill can really fix a lot of things, but primarily for what we're talking about today, it really helps you stay in your posture when you hit a golf ball.
And the easiest, that's beautifully said. I think the point of this too is like, what's the easiest way for someone that's trying to fix this? The easiest way is adding side bend and rotation. It's not trying to get your chest more down towards the ground. It's getting your trail rib cage
crunched, and turn.
Let me hit one or two here, Robert. Let's
Sure.
see. I think you're not in the danger zone there, but just in case. So, and this is something these guys, you can be doing this when you're on the course, in practice, in between shots, just to get a really good
That's right. That's
feel
right.
and visual. And if you're used to standing up, and you've heard this in previous videos, it should feel like, to me, it feels like my body with turn is literally closer to the ground. If I normally stand up like this, I feel like, whoa, I got all kinds of distance. It will very likely feel like you're closer than normal. That would probably be a sign of success. Got to just make sure you get the turn.
Right.
Right? Okay, so I'm going to have that feel, kind of feel that same little crunch in here like this. I know you've played in the British Open. Let's see if this is the best shot you've seen here in a while, Mr. Robert. Yeah, it felt good.
Stronger than a garlic milkshake. And that was strong.
Felt good.
Little baby draw.
And that's pretty strong.
Beautiful.
So I like that, I like that as a feel that I can go back to, because I think all of us want, like, all right, what am I supposed to do? How do I feel it? And then the last point, and I don't want to go on a tangent on this because I could talk for an hour on it, is like, how do I know if I'm doing it right? And I would say when you guys watch, look at all the visuals we put in here of the pros, right? And then record yourself or watch yourself and be looking to hit those same checkpoints.
Right, and these things can be done not by you can learn so much from not hitting a ball. For example, just like that. There's you holding the club in front of you, swinging underneath your lead arm. You're not hitting a ball, you're just getting the feel for that. If you did that, maybe went to the range and did that 10, 15 times, and then hit some little three-quarter shots with the same feeling, I think you would have great success.
Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, so easiest way to stay into posture, side bend, rotation. That's a quick, an easy drill that you guys can do for that. We're gonna link Robert's info down below. You're gonna see some more videos with us here shortly, but we'll link all the info down below. If you wanna get in touch with Robert, go see him for some lessons or check out his stuff. We'll link that all below. Appreciate you guys watching.